from the Crypt. It was a comic book series that came out, and then it was eventually made a TV show. It had like all sorts of scary tales, you know, stuff like that. It was one of the first shows on HBO where they really started showing a lot of violence and nudity, all that kind of, all the edgy stuff. And I don't remember what year I first saw those episodes, and I don't remember where I saw them, but I remember loving them. We used to watch, I remember there was the one about like a deranged guy that breaks in this lady's house on, I want to say it's Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but it's really funny, entertaining. The Crypt Keeper, John Cassier, I think was his name. The voice was just hilarious. He always did the little intros, and that's actually what this is from. He does the intro for the Demon Knight movie, which came out in 1995. And originally, in Tales from the Crypt, before each episode, they would have this book, this like giant tome. The Crypt Keeper would say like a little, like, you know, a couple quips. Usually they rhymed. And he would open his book, and then there would be this illustration in there, kind of like this. It would have a picture of the episode, kind of done in comic form. I always liked that. I kind of wish there was replicas of that out, because I would probably get that too. So in Demon Knight, instead of having the book this time around, they had like a comic book itself, and I'll put a little clip in there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It kind of shows the comic flipping as the episode starts.
I call this one Demon Knight.
So 1995 rolls around, they make their first movie, and it had William Sadler, who we all know from like The Green Mile. He's an awesome actor. I always loved that guy. He was in The Mist, a lot of Frank Darabont's movies. And they had Billy Zane in what I think was the pinnacle of his career. I thought he was awesome in Demon Knight.
Fuck this cowboy shit! You fucking ho dunk, po dunk, well then there, motherfuckers!
And if you haven't seen it, I really highly recommend you watch it, especially in October when it's Halloween.
I mean, frankly, we've been counting on you, haven't we?
Spooky, scary movies. It's got the perfect blend of like horror, sex, violence. It's got a little bit of everything. Action. The star prop of that movie is the Blood Key, and the Blood Key, William Sadler plays Brayker, who is this drifter that's sort of on the run from Billy Zane. When the movie starts, you don't really know why he's running from him. You just know that Billy Zane's after him. I kind of assumed Billy Zane was a cop at first. It's revealed shortly after, spoiler alert, that he's not. He's in fact a high-level demon. He's trying to collect the Blood Key, and Brayker is sort of the protector of it. And the keys are these sort of mystical things that have been around since the beginning of time. And over the years, they get passed down to the next protector who's supposed to guard the key. The blood of Christ is supposed to be inside, collected after his crucifixion in the movie canon anyways. And then as the key was passed down through history, a little bit more of the blood from each Demon Knight went into the key. So there's a little bit of Christ's blood in there. And every subsequent guardian of the key. The hotel, you know, Brayker hiding out in the hotel, pursued by Billy Zane's crazy character, which is hilarious. And they use the key also as a weapon. I'll put a little clip in here where he puts blood, he can put a little bit of blood on each of the doorways, and it creates this sort of force field around it that the demons can't pass.
That is disgusting.
What the hell is that shit?
And when they do, well, you've seen what happens. It's always stuck with me. I thought it was like really, really cool. Especially as a kid, I loved it. Even now I can appreciate it. I think the effects are still awesome for a movie that came out in the 90s. It looks better than some movies that come out nowadays. How that's possible, I have no idea. So the Blood Keys were originally made by a company called HMS Studios. The Blood Keys were sculpted by a gentleman named Steve Horch, and he worked for HMS Studios as well. If you want to check out Propology's channel, I believe that's Mike's channel himself. I'll put a link down below. It goes into a lot of technical detail about the prop itself, things that I won't really get into. This casting came from the movie mold, so it's basically the same everything as the movie version. Those versions were made out of bronze though. Hero keys, There's different props used in the movies. There's hero props, which are the ones used for camera close-ups. They're meant to look the best on the screen because you're going to see them the most. There's rubber and foam props, which are for safety so that actors don't get hurt or the props don't get damaged. In this case, if you threw this thing across the room, it would probably explode. If you've got a rubber version, it's going to survive much better. And then also, if you have actors, you don't have to worry about them getting injured from like a knife or a gun. So they just use foam versions, rubber versions of those, whatever they can need at the time. Like I said, there was a lot of different versions made for the films. I've seen a couple different auctions recently for the original props. The most recent one, or the one I remember the most, it looked like one of the bronze versions. I kind of skimmed the listing, but I don't have all the details in front of me, but it came in like the case that Billy Zane has that he's carrying with him. It's kind of like a little briefcase that's cut out for the key. He tries to get, oh God, what was the guy's name? The guy from Gremlins. Oh my gosh. Dave? Dan? Steve? Either way, so he's got that case. I saw that prop went for $20,000. Crazy, but I mean, if I was a millionaire, I would have paid that much easily. Call me crazy. So I saw that one. I saw another version in which there was a tube and it kind of was connected, it kind of went up the back here and was connected in like up here, and there was a light that kind of lit up the inside red like the films. Yeah, so I saw the version with the light going in the back. I saw another version that was like a stunt prop, and that one was, it looked like it was rubber maybe. Yeah, the rubber versions went for about $5,000. I'll put a little picture of that too, so you can see. So this kit I got from HMS Studios off of the RPF forum. It's made of a hard plastic. I think it's some kind of ABS or like resin. And it came in a kit form, and I'll put a couple pictures up above so you can see those. There's a few different pieces. There was the main body, which is all one piece. There's the cap here. These stars were another piece. And then the back little like web looking thing that holds in. And in the center, there's like a vacuum formed piece of plastic, which I had to trim the edges, kind of glue it to hold the blood, Caro syrup with red food coloring. And then once I sanded, kind of filled all the seams, I put the canister in the middle. And then on the original prop, they used something along the edges here to make sure that the vial didn't shake around or wasn't janky. So in my instance, I used Magic Sculpt, which is a 2-part epoxy. You mix it together in even amounts, and then I filled in it along the edges here. And I thought it kind of worked. To give the same effect, I kind of just went off screenshots, did like a gloss ivory for these stars, sort of weathered everything, and used brass-plated nails to sort of keep the theme going for the rest of it. There's a pin here so the cap opens. I've had this maybe for about, God, I want to say since 2010, somewhere around there, maybe even longer than that, but it's one of my favorite things that I own. I don't know many people that have one. Some of this other stuff behind me was mass-produced. I kind of like things like this a little more so, just because you know that there's not going to be a million copies of them out there. Yeah, if you like this video though, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. I'll try and get a couple more prop reviews going on the side of my book reviews that I'm doing. If you see anything behind me that you want me to elaborate on, or you want to see a review for, or just like a deep dive, just post in the comments below and I'll try and get to it in one of my future videos. Thanks.